People are saying like Justin Gaethje, he's older than that lad. He's 2 years older than Dan Hooker.
That's true.
Dan Hooker couldn't grapple off his mark. You know what I mean?
Okay, strong statements about Dan Hooker there.
He said that, right, which is a wild line. He was just having a laugh, and I know a lot of people are shocked by this, and I know a lot of people said that's out of bounds, it's off limits, have a bit of respect, you're a trash human being. I mean, all you got to do is have a look on Twitter and some YouTube comments. People are really going after Paddy for this, and obviously Dan Hooker came out with a wild response as well. We'll get to that in a second, but just on Paddy here, you got to remember he's a lad from Liverpool where they do have a great sense of humour, but also, you know, it can be a little cutting, it can be a little bit dark, and he was speaking to another English guy. Now, as I say, I'm not defending the fact that he brought up Dan Hooker's mom, right? He should not have done that, but in the context, right, it wasn't that bad. He never said anything too bad. He was basically just talking about the grappling of Dan Hooker. Now, should he have mentioned his mother? No, absolutely not.
Paddy Pimblett has officially taken things too far with Justin Gaethje, and this isn't the usual back and forth anymore. What began as a careless comment has now escalated into something far more serious. The tension has shifted from playful jabs to genuine animosity, creating one of the most awkward and heated storylines currently brewing in the lightweight division.
It's been a crazy sport. It's just such a crazy ride. There's so many variables that are constantly changing and adjusting and shifting, and, you know, Islam going up, Ilya not fighting in January. You know, you could have never predicted these things. So, you know, I've been trying to speak it into the ether for a long time now. I'm going to fight in January. I was going to beat Ilya, and then I was going to fight Max on the White House card, but things are shifting and still going in the right direction.
I don't train MMA at all. I do boxing classes, wrestling classes, because when the training camp comes, I try to mix it up and polish everything that I have been able to learn, everything that worked for me in wrestling and boxing. I want to develop all the time my knowledge. I want to get better all the time, and I can get better if I only go and train MMA. I need to learn new techniques. Like in BJJ, you never end up learning. One thing is what you know, and the other is what you do with what you know.
Who do you think should be next for Ilya?
Who should be next for Ilya? 55 has always been so cloudy at the top. Maybe Gaethje. I think him going to 170 to fight Islam, if Islam wins, is a stretch. You know, Islam's big, man. I've never seen Ilya in person, but he seems smaller. I know obviously he can knock anyone out. I do think if they fight, Ilya can knock anybody out from 45 to 170. He has the skills, the power, the technique, and but we've just never seen him in there with somebody that big and somebody with that caliber of wrestling. But I think he should defend the 55 title a few times before that's talked about. We'll see.
Paddy Pimblett recently stirred controversy after taking a harsh shot at Dan Hooker, joking that Hooker couldn't even grapple his way out of a simple situation. Although the remark was directed at Hooker, it immediately caught Justin Gaethje's attention, and he wasn't amused. Gaethje didn't ignore it or laugh it off. Instead, he publicly stepped in to defend Hooker, taking aim at Pimblett's trash talk, questioning his achievements, and criticizing how quickly he's been pushed into high-profile opportunities without earning them the hard way. From that point forward, the tension shifted. What once felt like promotional noise suddenly turned into something far more personal and real.
I want a war. I've never had a war. I've never had a proper war where we're both cut and bloodied up. I'd love a fight like Adesanya Gastelum. I'd love a fight like that, but I don't think Justin Gaethje is the man to give me it. I just don't think. I love biting down on my gum shield and swinging punches. You never know, I might end up doing that to him, but I just can't see him getting past the third round. I don't. The only way he beats me is a big overhand right or a big left hook. I genuinely can't. I don't see anywhere he's better than me, even on the feet. I know he's an amazing striker, but so am I. So I just don't see anywhere he beats me.
Paddy wants to fight Ilya, Ilya wants to fight Paddy. Yeah. That's what they want, but I'm here to fuck it up again. I'm going to do the same thing I did for the Khabib and Tony thing. I'm going to fuck this up. Paddy Pimblett, I mean, this guy's got a ton of momentum, you know, a ton of confidence, and those are two variables that are tough to beat. I'm going to have to really steal that momentum early, and I know he's going to make mistakes, so I have to be ready to take advantage of these mistakes. Such a fucking crazy sport, but Paddy Pimblett is a very popular guy right now, and it's going to do great things. I'm going to beat Paddy, I'm going to beat Ilya, and then I got to get Max back.
How do you not be a fan of Justin Gaethje? That your favourite fighter's favourite fighter. Everyone loves watching Justin Gaethje fight, but everyone was fighter entertaining and he puts himself in a war, but when you watch him as a fan, it's unbelievable. But then when you break him down to watch him as an opponent, you see a lot of holes in his game and come on and exploit them. I'd love to have a scrap with him. I would have. In all my years of fighting, including my amateur fights, 35 fights, I've never really had a war. So it'd be nice to finally get one with the king of them, but I don't think it'll get that far. I think I'll finish.
The friction had been simmering under the surface, but now it's reached a breaking point. Paddy Pimblett hasn't backed away. In fact, he's embraced the backlash, reaffirming his stance and pushing the narrative that Gaethje symbolizes the previous era of the division. Durable, accomplished, but not unbeatable. That attitude has only fueled outrage among fans who view Gaethje as one of the most proven and battle-hardened competitors in the weight class. What makes the situation even more intense is how dangerous this matchup looks on paper. Gaethje thrives on constant forward motion, brutal leg attacks, and an approach that turns every moment into a test of endurance, dragging opponents into exhausting, punishing exchanges where there's nowhere to hide.
In all my years of fighting, including my amateur fights, 35 fights, I've never really had a war, so it'd be nice to finally get one with the king of them, but I don't think it'll get that far. I think I'll finish.
Were you a Justin Gaethje fan prior to any thought of fighting him?
I am a Justin Gaethje fan, not was, I am. Yeah. And anyone who is an MMA fan and isn't a Justin Gaethje fan isn't an MMA fan. Like, I always say, he's your favourite fighter's favourite fighter. He's one of my favourite fighters, one of the best fighters that you can watch. And the fact that I'm now getting in there against him is what dreams are made of.
And he's made no secret that he wants to keep this on the feet. We know his knockout power, but your submission skills are so slick. You want to take it to the ground? Oh, okay.
I'll keep it on the feet with him.
It might come as a surprise to you. Paddy the Baddy says that he's a weird fighter. He knows he's a weird fighter, and you can't bring anybody into training camp to mimic him, that he wrestles weird and he grapples weird. Do you see Paddy that way? I don't see Paddy that way. That's not an insult. It wouldn't be a compliment if he was weird. It's not an insult that he's not weird. I don't see him that way. I don't see him as a stranger. It makes me want to go back and rewatch some Paddy fights and see what weird things did he do. And there are weird guys. Weird just meaning unique. Wonder Boy's got an extremely weird style. Lyoto Machida had a very unique style. Paddy the Baddy believes that he has a weird and unique style, and I'm just wondering where. Like, there's been guys that we've seen that have come along on the ground. Over time, there was something that got introduced to us known as the rubber guard. But I don't see that from Paddy. I don't see a weirdness. I don't see something that Gaethje isn't familiar with or that he hasn't dealt with before. Now, is it a good idea to stand up with Justin Gaethje if you're Paddy Pimblett? So many people say no. But I'm not certain that we know that answer is no. I'm not certain. I find it lazy. If I'm to use a word, I'll use the word lazy. I find it lazy when a fight analyst reverts back to 1993 and starts talking about a stand-up guy versus a ground guy. I just don't know that that's true with anybody. I don't know if there's anyone on the roster that you could match up with anybody else on the roster. And you could say, okay, if it's stand-up, for sure, this athlete's going to win. If it goes to the ground, for sure, this athlete's going to win. I don't know if it's like that anymore.
That is most dangerous when opponents lose composure, when movement gets sloppy, reactions slow, and damage starts piling up. If this fight spends extended time on the feet, the risk for Paddy increases dramatically. Still, that's exactly where Pimblett believes the matchup swings in his favor. His style thrives on chaos, awkward scrambles, sudden clinches, and rapid grappling shifts that turn minor lapses into decisive moments. While Gaethje has tightened up his takedown defense over the years, his weak point still appears when bouts abandon order and structure. That unpredictable space is where Paddy feels most at home, And that clash of styles is what makes this matchup so compelling and volatile.
English, yeah?
Hey,
Speak English.
you want to talk to me like the man to man? You said something about me. I went to your country. I slap your face. I get at the waist and grin. I walk like a king in your street.
You talking English?
And what you did? What you
Is that
did, man?
English?
Yeah, of course I
Speak
do.
English for the people.
Shut up.
Not German or Spanish like you're from.
I'm talking in English and fuck you in English y que te follen en español.
Yeah, Espanol because you're Spanish.
Yeah.
You pretend to be Georgian when
Do
you're
what
not.
you
You were
what
born
I
in
did to
Germany
you in your
and you live
country.
in Spain.
Try to do it
You
in
were
Spain,
born in
and
Germany
you're gonna see
and
what's
you
gonna
live in
happen to
Spain.
you,
You're a little
rat.
mongrel.
Shut up.
That's what you are. You're a little mongrel.
Shut up. If not, I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna crash your face right here.
Do it then, you
Mash
little
it up.
fart.
Another question?
Do it. Do it then, you little What? Do it. Do it. Come on, do something then. Do something, stand up. What'll you do? You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing, you little fart. Go and sit back down. Sit back down, you little puta.
Listen.
Fuck.
Everything you touch.
Little mushroom. You little chorizo, you Spanish sausage.
Have you allowed yourself to think what a fight with Ilya looks like?
Yeah, I think I beat him up as well. You know what I mean? There's weight classes for a reason, and if he wants to fight me at 155, it'll get seriously messy on his face. No, Ilya's going through a lot of stuff, and wish him nothing but the best with it. Know what I mean? That's nothing to do with us fighting. It's nothing to do with being in the cage. So all that around family life, I hope everything goes perfect for him. But he does finally come back and get in the cage, I want to punch his face in.
Well done, lad.
Look at me. Look at me.
That was a heavy knockout. I'll give you that respect. But you will never knock me out.
I'm going to submit you.
Knock me out.
You live. What I'm going to do is
you can't
I'm going to put my balls in your
you can't knock me out. You
Yeah,
know I
listen.
don't get knocked out.
You get knocked out.
I finish
get knocked
you.
out even before the fight.
I finish you, little
Get
man.
that your ass from here.
I finish
Get
you.
that.
As a guy who spent time in the cage with Paddy, what kind of a chance do you give Paddy if he gets that Ilya Topuria fight?
Paddy is better than most will give him credit for. His octagon presence was on point. He knew where he needed to be. He was completely okay with getting taken down that first round. He kept great distance, kept me off with the kicks. Topuria being a little bit shorter than me, but great punching power. I think Paddy would have a good chance to keep it past a round or two because he's not going to engage as much as Oliveira did. But ultimately, it's definitely a mismatch. And that's just because we're talking Ilya Topuria. I think Ilya Topuria is easily the most talented guy, not just in our division, but I think in the entire sport.
What about Ilya? Because he's moving up to 155, right?
Yeah, always.
And you guys have a long history.
Yeah.
That press conference 2 years ago was one of the most fucking entertaining press conferences of all time. Your chirps, like calling him like a fucking chorizo sausage and shit.
That's what he should have changed his name to.
It was funny.
He's changed his nickname to a shit nickname, hasn't he? Like Legend or something.
Yeah.
Should have changed it to El Chorizo. Would have been well for you.
What do you make of his like involvement? Because that was a long time ago, and now he's kind of fucking leveled up like
yeah,
crazy,
he has.
right?
But we always knew he was a good fighter. Know what I mean? Like that's sort of what pisses me off about him. Even though I hate him and I think he's a bellend, like I wouldn't lie and say he's a shit fighter because he's not. But that's what he says about me, and it made me laugh when he said, "What did he say? He called me fat." I was like, lad, you can't make your weight division anymore that you are champion of, and you're trying to call me fat. He's a midget, lad. He's tiny. He's smaller than Michael Chandler. You'll see what I do to Michael Chandler next Saturday night when I dismantle him, and it'll be a very similar game plan to beat Ilya. He's small. He walks forward, swinging shots. I'll kick him up and down the octagon, and I'll either knock him out or submit him. Like that fight's there down the line. No, 100%. That fight's got to happen. That's a fight that you can have as a pay-per-view main event with no title on the line.
That gives me like chills just thinking about that. The press conferences and shit. That'd be crazy.
The press. They'd have to do a world tour for that, like they did with Aldo McGregor. That'd be fucking hilarious. Yeah, Ilya, you know, it's there anytime. Know what I mean? Anytime, lad.
It seems like they don't know what to do because Ilya moved up. I don't know if Islam wants to fight him or not. So like he's looking for an opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like this fight is really going to decide a lot of stuff in that whole division.
Yeah, it is. As I've said it a few times, like the old guard of the lightweight division, they're all on the way out. You've got Chandler, who's 38. You've got Dustin, Justin and Charles, who are all 35 and older. I think even Danaher might be 35, Moicano's 38, Dariush is 38. In the next 2 or 3 years, the top 10 is going to look completely different. The only person in the top 10 I can think of who's under 35 is Arman Tsarukyan. He's just a little posh boy who's had everything handed to him on a silver platter by his dad.
Do you think he actually got injured or no? Or what do you think happened?
No, he's a little bitch ass. That's what you are, Arman. Little boy.
I was confused too, because yeah, we had him on the pod that week too, and then I don't know, he was doing videos too with Nina drama. He was like wrestling and shit.
Yeah. And then he was doing them videos where he flips forward on his neck.
Right.
And then he's saying that he's got a bad back. Dana said, didn't he? It was like Dana shot him down in that interview. I was like, whoa, that's heavy, that. You don't want the boss saying that about you. But because he got asked, didn't he, is Arman still number 1? Right. And he was like, no.
Right.
I mean, the sport of MMA is so incredibly evolved. I would not have thought that Max Holloway standing with Justin Gaethje would have been a prosperous idea. And I know that that was popular opinion. The majority of you were with me at that time. And it wasn't just who was a better boxer or the X's and O's, it also had to do with the size factor. Max being a 45-pounder, moving up to Gaethje, a big 55-pounder. I mean, I'm just sharing for you. We don't know as much as we think. And it feels like every Saturday we get reminded of that, but then when the weekdays, right? Every weekend we get reminded of that, and then during the weekdays we completely forget it. I don't know that I think that Paddy's weird. I don't know that he has a style with his takedowns or on the ground that is wildly unique. He's really good. He's really good at what he does. But is he strange? Is he awkward? Is that something that Gaethje has to deal with, just by example? Does Gaethje have to worry about getting into shape and getting down to weight and getting his left and right hand sharp and stretching his body and sleeping well and knowing how to do jiu-jitsu and sharpening up his double and his takedown, and he's got to deal with this guy that's really awkward and weird? I don't think so. I don't see it that way. Can Paddy strike with Justin? Probably. We don't have evidence of that. Like we don't have some great fight or 2 or 3 that ended up stand-up battles that Paddy ended up winning or dominating, but there is times in fights when something happens that you didn't expect would happen. That's where things can unravel very quickly. And maybe you're not overly confident you can win the fight, but you do believe that you can get a takedown when you need one. And you go out there and all of a sudden this guy who's not known for great wrestling or not known for great takedown defense, all of a sudden he's stopping your best attacks. And now you're stuck on your feet, which is not what you envisioned happening. And I have seen moments of rounds, I've even seen entire rounds, where at the conclusion the judges have gone against Paddy and they were largely stand-up battles. However, right, I mean, the Gordon fight just comes to mind. We're getting a takedown was at a premium. Find out that Paddy's got a hurt knee, but that's all subsequent. It doesn't change the fact that takedowns were at a premium. It doesn't change the fact that Paddy thought he could go out and get on top of a guy, and it didn't happen, and he ends up stuck on his feet, and you, the viewers, saw him having a hard time.
Pressure, but then pressure off the front kick, and then pressure with like a variety of kicks that do a little bit more damage there. And that to me is the way that's going to work. And then once his hands are down, or it's a little bit later in the fight, or he's injured or whatever, he just doesn't move as much, then you launch into your takedowns, level change, clinch your way in, whatever the setup ends up being, where he can't move and is therefore just not able to have the same kind of diligent defense that would be necessary to thwart that kind of attack. I think that's what you're going to see from Paddy, if in fact he is successful. But if he's not, part of that is how you maintain range. And if you don't maintain range well, like I've seen kickboxing instructors be like, you should only throw kicks if they're neutral or you're moving forward. not if they're pressuring into you. But Paddy has gotten away from that at times. Could that cost him here? You know, that's one coach's rule. I'm not saying every coach is quite like that, but you get the idea. Like how you manage that range, you will live or die based on that. It's just I tend to think that's the most important part of this equation.
So just going back to Justin Gaethje's grappling, he's kind of neglected that part of his game for a while now, but he does have a pedigree in wrestling, NCAA. I think he placed 7th in 2010 in one of the divisions. His takedown defense is still decent, but it's going to be, you know, Paddy Pimblett trying to get his back, catch him in transition. How much of an improvement, or how much do you think he can prepare for something like that, sort of not really paying that much attention to that part of his game over this camp? Do you think him and Trevor Whitman are going to be able to put some stuff together where if they do end up in that position, they're going to be able to get out of there safely? Or do you think this is a part of a game that needs to be nourished and worked on for longer than just a training camp to really be able to survive against such a dangerous grappler like Paddy Pimblett?
Yeah, I mean, if it was as easy as just doing it very late in your career, then they would just do it that way, but it's not, you know? Like, for folks who don't know, if you place inside the top 8 in your respective weight class, the national championships in the United States, that is considered All-American. You have to get somewhere inside the top 8.